Air Force's B-1B bomber is back in Guam. The B-1B Lancer and its pilots are back where they want to be, flying in a critical area of operations and training for a potential conflict in East Asia that would require teamwork with allies such as Japan and South Korea. 4 B-1B have deployed to Andersen Air Force Base in Guam for work flying in tandem with Japanese pilots from their self-defense force in exercises that are meant to foster a feeling of pride and team building. AirForceMag.com spoke to Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Carter, a B-1 pilot from the 34th Bomb Squadron at Ellsworth Air Force Base, South Dakota. Carter is fired up about the deployment and is good-natured about the partnership with Japanese pilots. When we see each other through the cockpit windows and we're just doing our high fives and fist bumps in the air, it seems like you're just flying with someone else in your squadron, he added, and that's kind of, I think, the biggest improvement with all this integration. Should the B-1B be permanently deployed in Guam? This is fine for the Air Force, but Andersen Air Force Base in Guam used to have permanently deployed bombers over the last 16 years. Now the B-1B rotate with other bombers, such as the B-52 and B-2 for 1 to 3 month deployments. The permanently based policy for bombers outside the United States ended in 2020. How important is Guam? This is a significant development. Guam is a strategic and decisive territory for the U.S. military. It is a jumping-off point for any offensive maneuvers necessitated by a revanchous China and North Korea, whose military practices are unpredictable. The upside of permanent nuclear-equipped bomber deployment was that Guam had a high level of operational tempo that would give pilots and crew a taste of readiness they may not have experienced stateside. Now new bomber crews are rotating in and out that indeed offers valuable training opportunities, but may not give Guam that high state of readiness needed for such an important base. Big payload, no problem. The B-1B can carry a substantial amount of munitions including JDAM, cluster bombs, laser-guided bombs, general-purpose bombs, and air-to-surface standoff missiles. The bomber was nuclear-capable until 2007 when strategic arms treaties such as START and New START eliminated nuclear weapons from the B-1B inventory. Mission shifts to East Asia. 17 B-1B bombers were retired from the fleet in 2021 to make way for the new B-21 stealth bomber. Deployments to Guam are important for the B-1B to ensure it maintains relevance as the U.S. military looks to China and North Korea for new missions to ensure these states do not start a conflict. Multi-role mission is needed. Proponents of the B-1B will have to emphasize its multi-role capability of close air support and intercontinental conventional bombing. A better mission may be its ability to fire standoff missiles outside the range of enemy air defenses. This capability has become more pronounced as Russia has used its bombers to fire standoff missiles from Russian airspace into Ukraine rather than going up against Ukrainian surface-to-air missiles. But as for Guam, B-1B pilots will continue to answer the call in East Asia to fly with allies. These rehearsals should reassure the Air Force and policymakers that the B-1B is still relevant if any conflict arises.
Our our task force rotations happen a few times a year to forward locations such as Guam and or Fairford. Also recently, the 9th Bomb Squadron went to Norway last spring. So we go out a couple times a year, and really we're here to integrate with our local partners and our allies to try and build relationships, get better at working together and integrating and communicating with them. And then obviously demonstrating our readiness and meeting the combat commanders and objectives it has for the theater. The B-1 and the B-52 provide a very strategic deterrence role for the United States military, for the United States Air Force. Specifically, the B-1 is more focused towards a conventional long-range strategic deterrence portion, considering we're not a non-nuclear platform, and really trying to integrate with our local partners and allies from a conventional deterrence perspective is what we provide for the B-1. So for this rotation, we started with our first mission out was to fly to Lithuania and integrate with some Lithuanian Special Forces JTACs. Then from there we returned to Germany, where we did a hot pit refueling at Spangdahlem Air Force Base. We used the Viper refueling kit, which is a new capability the Air Force has, to minimize the logistical footprint we need. And then we landed back here. From there we've also flown to the Black Sea and integrated with Turkish tankers, also with United States Navy vessels that are in the Black Sea. We've done some conventional support to nuclear operations off the Adriatic coast in Italy. And of note, recently, last week, we had 10 Norwegian LNOs here. We did 2 different integration bowls with F-35s or F-16s, Norwegian SOF, and the Norwegian Navy. So for the 9th Expeditionary Bomb Squadron, really what it does for us is it allows us to forward project to a new location, fly from a different spot, and do different things we don't normally do. And it really gives us the opportunity to build relationships and work with those partners and allies in the region that I can't do from Dallas Air Force Base.